Thank you so much. This is my absolute honor to be here, and I wish I could be there. I heard it's a very nice weather today in Hawaii. It's a little bit chilly in Oklahoma, but it is what it is. And I'm really happy and honored to be discussing my interest and my research with all of you. Let me share my screen. You guys can see my screen, right? Yes. All right. What we are going to discuss today, it is basically visual communication. It's a in between visual genre and visual rhetoric. Also, the particular genre that we'll be discussing about is graphical abstracts, and the broader area that we'll be touching a little bit is scholarly communication, which is my research area. I just defended my dissertation last week, so a little bit of yes, yeah. When we prepared and circulated this, I was at the brink of defending my dissertation, so I just did it. Still within the trauma, but it has been done. It feels like that now. All right. So what I'm going to discuss today is to give you some primary idea that what digital genre, what visual communication and visual scholarly communication is. Then we will have some practical aspects of it. Then we'll be doing some hands-on activity. Basically, what we'll be doing, just relax yourselves and we'll be talking some things and we'll try to have some fun with these interesting aspects of communication. What do you guys think, as we are from different part of the world, what is the most important currency of our time? Like, think very generally in a fun way, not very serious way. What is the most important currency do you think of our time? Anyone can answer. Dollars? Dollars maybe? What are some of the other prominent currencies?
Our group, if we're doing like abstract ideas too, like those outside time, like you could spend time.
Okay, very good, very good. Time is very good. So one is like very concrete things, another one is abstract. I would like to hear a little bit more. Thank you so much for saying that. What else? I want more abstract ideas.
She said attention.
Attention, very good, very good. Yes, exactly, you are correct. So one thing that is very much prevailing and practiced and very common surrounding us wherever we go, like among your students, they are walking in the corridor, if you go to a shopping mall, or even if in nature or somewhere, there's one common thing we always see. What is that? Someone is in mobile phone. Someone is scrolling up and down, which is very much we see nowadays. So for as we are more exposed to the digital technologies like screen times and other form of screen, attention is becoming more and more that everyone is trying to get and grab and cache it. So from the YouTube channels, from the social media platforms, from the area of politics, from the area of like entertainment, business, everywhere, everyone is trying to grab attention. The more attention people can grab from any field like advertisement, from like politics, from media, the more concentration they can have and they can be more successful in their communicative goal regarding that. That is why it's a big question that why not we do the same in the scholarly communication field. And one particular way of grabbing attention is through good visuals. So one of the best ways, not only now, it has been from the very beginning of human history and civilization, we are very much prone or attracted to the good visuals. Why? Now, we all have heard this phrase probably that a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? in classes, in academia, in other spaces, we have seen this. Why do you think it is said that a picture is worth 1,000 words? It was said in 1921, but in 1996, Thorpe et al. With one study, they proved that uh, visuals actually promote comprehension. It promotes quick comprehension. How is that? 20 words of plain text takes nearly 6 seconds to read, whereas visual icons can take almost 1/4 of a second to understand. So if you look at the comparison, the same amount of information which is presented as a text, it takes 6 seconds. And the same category or the same amount of information, or like same amount of concentrated material presented through visual, takes a quarter of a second. So look at the comparison, is 6 seconds versus less than a second, even less than half of a second. That is why it's very much proved that visuals actually promote comprehension or promote quick comprehension. Second aspect is it boosts memory retention. Pavio 1971, through one study, proved that visuals and words processed together create stronger mental connections. So something that when a visual and text, that means two modes of communication presented together, it creates better understanding, better connection or retention to the memory. Which leads us to second point, which is that visuals actually reduce cognitive load. Relevant visuals help organize information effectively, lowering the mental effort needed to understand complex ideas. That means it makes things simpler so that we can understand better. So if we combine together, there are three proof studies which actually expresses why visuals are so important. It reduces cognitive load. What we all want, we want to things to be done easily. Boost memory retention, which keeps us or helps us remember things, and also it helps us comprehend things comparatively easier. That is why visuals are important actually. Now we'll be looking at some of the powerful visuals surrounding us. We all know that, right? So just one tick mark can bring a lot of things, can say a lot of things, from sports, from spirit, to a certain brand and to certain marketing. Basically, it is done for the marketing, but just through visuals, we know that what is going on there. We are recognized. A complete brand and brand history is recognized by this visual. Second one is also from visual, but it also conveys a different message. So from the picture, what do you see? It's two people presented here, just one with hat and one without hat. So it's an advertisement from a hat company actually, but just with one change or one visual, completely two different people are being presented here. One is loved by the whole world, and possibly another one is not loved that much by the whole world. Do you guys recognize these two people and can name someone who they are?
That's Hitler and Winston Churchill.
Hitler, and the second person is
Winston Churchill.
Chaplin. Yes, yeah. So just besides two picture with one component change, you can see how big difference can be made, which probably would have taken a lot of words to be expressed. Now, this is one of my favorite, though this is from, I believe more in discipline rather than motivation, but this picture says a lot of things. Can anyone tell me what is happening in this picture? Yes.
Instead of asking for help, she's moving out of the island herself.
Yes, yes, exactly. So the basic message is like we can always keep asking for help, which we need sometimes, but taking action actually helps us more to proceed in our life. The last one is from a very much digital space, which we all are familiar with. So, do you know who this guy is?
Mr. Beast.
Mr. Beast. Yeah, he's one of the most successful YouTubers. So, though my favorite, he's not my favorite YouTuber, but he is very popular. So he was asked in 2024, I believe. Yeah, he was asked in an interview that what is the reason for the success of his YouTube channel so much. Everyone thought he'll be talking about contents and other things, which are actually, but one of the major things he mentioned about was the thumbnails. That means he said that we create a different tone of thumbnail, which became a later became itself a language, which attracts more and more people towards my videos, which actually works as a hook. So here is also from the advertisement to the digital, from the history to the motivational, we can see that how impactful visuals can create a difference in a subtle way. So, as we have highlighted the importance of visual a little bit, so let's have an overview that what we are going to do. So, introduction, which you already have, we got introduced to each other, and we have some idea that what visuals and what we are going to work about. We'll be talking specifically about graphical abstracts, purposes, value, different types and structures of graphical abstracts, some practical aspect that how to find appropriate graphical abstracts. Then we'll jump into the hands-on activity, which will be discussing about how to process or create graphical abstracts and a follow-up activity. And then I'll be sharing some resource with all of you. All right, so let's jump into. Before starting discussing graphical abstracts, as we are in the field of research and like in applied linguistics and different type of research, we all are familiar with abstracts, right? Research abstracts. So what is actually a research abstract? Can anyone share thoughts with me? Yeah, yeah.
A research abstract is a summary of the entire paper that it's associated with.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Thank you so much. You are just spot on. Basically, a research abstract is a summarized version of a complete research paper. So most of the time, it is at the beginning of a research paper, just underneath the title, which actually tells us what this whole research paper is about, so that we can read, we can have broader idea and make decisions that whether this paper is necessary or I want to continue reading the whole paper or not. Right? So graphical abstracts is the same thing actually. It is a summarized version of a research paper. One difference with text-based abstract is that graphical abstracts are visual summary. That means text-based abstract are a text summary of a whole research paper, and graphical abstract is a summary combination of text and visuals put together. That means a research abstract presented in a visual form. So if you look at the most prominent definition in the field of graphical abstract, which is from Ibrahim et al. 2017, the summary of an article, key or significant findings that are to be published pictorially, that means presented visually, serving as a concise and shareable format for communicating research articles' main point. So basically, what are the main aspects of a research paper? Presenting that in a visual form. That is a graphical abstract. So one example given on my screen, this is a very common or typical example of a regular graphical abstract, which actually presents the heart of a paper, which is beneficial effects of natural bioactive compounds on metabolic syndrome. That is the main theme of the paper, and different beneficial aspects like some kind of dysfunction, body weight and body composition, metabolic alterations, lipid profile, and inflammation and oxidative stress. That means different aspects of this main issue is presented here, presented as like a structure or a map, putting the main idea at the central and combined with different kind of visuals, which is connected to the issue, connected to the thing. Like we can see a cinnamon stick here and some kind of fruit and wine, which promotes this aspect. So this is a very typical example of a graphical abstract, but there are plenty of other types presented as well. What it does, an illustrated summary of the information that is usually found within an abstract of an article. So in a way, we can say that a graphical abstract and a abstract is pretty much some a similar thing, or what you expect in a graphical abstract usually found in the text-based abstracts that aims to focus on the attention of the reader towards the main body of the work. So one major aspect or critical aspect of a graphical abstract to attract people towards the main body of the whole research paper. In a way that can be said a visual summary of the main findings of a study designed to help readers understand the key takeaways. That means what actually I will get into this paper and what will be my takeaway according to the Elsevier definition of graphical abstracts. So putting these together, graphical abstract is a summary, same as the text-based abstract, presented in the visual form, focus on different aspects, sometimes findings, sometimes process, sometimes others. What I will be grabbing from the paper and I will make decision that whether I will read this whole paper. That is the main aspect. Now, we already touched base with some, but what are the major purposes of a graphical abstracts? You can see here is another example of a graphical abstract presented. So graphical abstracts or GA in short forms allows readers to preview the article, same as the text-based abstract, and decide whether it should be worth pursuing or further. Now, one critical aspect or critical issue of graphical abstract besides text-based abstract that is presented in a visual form, which makes people understand better, comprehend better, and to remember in a completely easier way, so that people can make a decision that whether they will be reading the whole thing. Also, it can communicate complex information and ideas clearly as it has a facility of both text and visual besides the text-based abstract and concisely in a shorter form, allowing audience to understand and remember content very quickly as one of the facility of visual form of genre. That means they can understand it easier way and remember it and gets more attracted to it. Also, swiftly communicate the research's key takeaways to a broader audience. One is major issue or major impact of graphical abstract. It makes people understand things easier way and it reaches more people. Like usually text-based abstract are mostly written for the scholars in the field. Graphical abstracts are intended to make impact among a broader number of people so that people get more attracted towards research and there is an increase of citation and other facilities which we'll be looking into in shortly, including those who may lack the time or expertise to delve into full article. So this is one of the reasons that graphical abstracts are becoming so much popular because it makes things easier, present in an attractive and concise way, and it attracts more people who can have a better understanding of a complex issue or complex research paper to proceed further. Now, what are the values? We'll be looking at this. Why, besides text-based abstract, besides the whole research paper, why do we need graphical abstracts? Graphical abstracts basically capitalize on human beings' inherent ability to rapidly process and retain visuals as opposed to textual information. As at the beginning of our discussion, we saw that besides text or abstract, we have some of the facilities of visuals. So graphical abstract can afford and understand and create impact through those facilities where human being actually can process visuals way better than like text or other form of communication. So this is one good value of graphical abstracts. GS or graphical abstract had demonstrated effectiveness in enhancing visibility of research through various platforms like Twitter, which is X now, Instagram, LinkedIn. Basically, this is a digital form of or digital form of part of a research paper or a concise research paper that can be shared very easily, which is another big characteristics and good side of the digital platforms. So these a research paper, sharing a research paper is a complex thing. Sharing a text-based abstract is not that impactful as you can share a research presented in a visual form. That is why graphical abstract actually demonstrates quite effectiveness, which has been proved through all the studies listed here, that if a research paper is presented or like shared with the graphical abstract in the social media platform, it creates much more impact than a text-based abstract, which actually attracts more people. One of the core aspects of the scholarly genre or scholarly communication. And then that is why a major number of journals, especially in the sciences, now it is expanding to the education and applied linguistics and even social sciences are adopting more and more graphical abstracts to perform or spread out through their research or to spread out or promote their scholarly papers or their journals as well. So that is why graphical abstracts are becoming more and more impactful. Again, approximately according to Ramos and Concepcion, it's a 2020 study, where they said approximately 7.3% of the journals in their field have started using graphical abstracts for the research dissemination. That means they are trying to spread out their research and scholarly work among more people using this. Also, Chapman et al. 2019, a study proved that GAs or graphical abstract actually can attract and make understand among the scholars and the lay people, which is one of the another major impact or major concern of the scholarly communication. Again, Ibrahim et al. 2018 study proved that GAs effectively stimulate further research, increase citation, and also open door for additional funding opportunities. As the whole world and all the other field like media, business, and others, scholarly area is also trying to expand, and to expand that we need more people to understand research. We need more people to contribute through funding and citation. Graphical abstract is such a genre or such an area that can do it comparatively very easier and attractive way. That is why GS are actually valuable. Now, let's have a look at some of the graphical abstracts. A couple of studies has been done, including second chapter of my own dissertation, which actually try to categorize graphical abstracts from different fields and different area. The categorization is based on like research focus, structure, etc. So here I'm actually presenting a simplified version of all those. So one of the major type of graphical abstracts that is being made and presented is process based, which actually presents or experimental design or procedural step. Though it's a little bit small, but if you look at this graphical abstract in the middle of it, you can see that step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 presented. So this is the background of the experiment. This is the instrument used, these are the steps, and all things combined together present in a graphical abstract. Those graphical abstracts, they present process, they're actually called process-based abstracts or process-based graphical abstracts. Second one, after the process based, most one of the most practiced one is concept. Like they pick up a concept from the research paper and present it as a concise form. So the graphical abstract mentioned here is a different function of protein presented in a clockwise form, and its impact or on different part of the human body, and a little bit of process mentioned at the bottom of it. So one is process based, mostly practice. Second one is conceptual, presenting a concept in visual form. Third one is diagrammatic style. This is more structural. Diagrammatic style is like, even if you look at the graphical abstract, you can see that those graphical abstracts or visual forms, those focus more on like diagram style structure. They are called diagrammatic graphical abstracts. In these, it is mostly the different kind of diagrams are presented or ideas are presented in a diagram form. This is another comparative one. This is another prevailing one or practiced one, which is called comparative. If you look at this graphical abstract, there are two sides of it. So those graphical abstracts which mostly focus on presenting a comparative picture of an experiment, of an idea, anything, those are called comparative graphical abstracts. You can see there's a central mouse, and in the left and the right, different type of coloring and different type of experiments being focused of the same thing. That means it's a comparative idea being presented here. And finally, illustrative style, which is another structural style. Illustrative style or these type of graphical abstracts are mostly presented where instead of like theme or text or like diagram, illustrations are focused more. That means more pictures are being brought and ideas being presented in illustrative form. So these are some of the major graphical abstracts presented with these studies. Now we have talked enough. Let's do some hands-on activity. Um, Now let's try to find some graphical abstracts from your field, or like let me show you first how to do that. One most common one is like you can go to Google and you can do image search. If you go to Science Direct, let me share the let me show you first, then I will share the links. So this is a Science Direct. If you go to the Science Direct search, it will take you here. Let's search for like cancer cell. So if you search any concept or any idea in the Science Direct, it will take you here. So you can look details of these papers. And here, like in the number 4, there is besides abstract, there is a graphical abstract present. So you can, if you click on that, it will show you the graphical abstract. You go down, there are more graphical abstracts. You see? Can anyone tell me what type of this one might be? I know it's difficult to say suddenly. It's a comparative one, like a comparative picture being presented. If you click this one, this is more like illustrative or like a idea concept. I'm pretty sure it's a concept-based graphical abstract. So you see this, you go there, you see, find these articles, and in majority of them are like they have graphical abstracts. Now let's search something from our field, applied linguistics. Maybe second learning. You see, there are studies, but it's way less practice in our field or in social. But we found one. Let's click here. Not bad. Okay. Natural specialization of print processing in second language learning. Not bad. It's getting more practice in our field, in education as well. So this is one way to find it. Let me share the link in the chat box. Those who cannot access the chat box, you can just uh, search Science Direct. Okay, let's look at Cell Press. You can go to Cell Press or Elsevier. Let me stop sharing and I can give you the links. Okay, let's try to find some graphical abstracts the way you feel best. Give it a little bit of Google search, image search, or any way. I give you, let's say, 5 minutes. Then we can come back that whether you could find something from your field or from other fields maybe. 5 minutes.
So you go to sunset already? I said, I did not turn it off. Yes. No, you have to send everything there. Graphic. Images, any other word, graphics, images. Just graphic.
Okay, one more minute. Let's see what you find.
Here, language teaching. So in teaching, then you put image. Graphics. Go to the book topic.
Okay, let's listen from everyone. Could you find something? Could you find some graphical abstracts?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, anyone can. Yeah. How's your experience? Could you find something relevant to your field or is like random?
You notice that as we're looking in the second language studies area, there are very few, but the ones that did were much more quantitatively oriented, like having that kind of hard science shape to it in this genre.
Yeah, that's very much. Actually, in my dissertation I worked with graphical abstracts from the life sciences. So I wanted to work in the field of applied linguistics, which is my field. But I found that there's not much practice in my field. That's why I did a needs analysis, which gave me a result of life sciences. That's why I worked with. But it's getting more like one of my committee members who was from the education department. She told me that. Last week in their field, one of the prominent journals in their field started asking for graphical abstract. So yeah, what you said is I 100% agree. What else? What are some of the other experiences? Yeah, go ahead.
So there are some in linguistics,
Hmm.
but not graphical abstracts that are specifically related to like sign language linguistics or language documentation. And I find that very interesting because I feel like sign language linguistics specifically, well, number one, it would make sense for us as a field to have graphical abstracts because a lot of the data we work with, we have to see.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, a big component that is growing in not just, the field of linguistics or SLS, but also science in general. We're trying to make our work more accessible. And a big thing in particular with sign language linguistics is that we're trying to make sure our research and information reaches the deaf community. So I feel like my particular field, we need to start moving to submitting graphical abstracts as well.
Yeah.
We want to
Yeah.
help.
Yeah, that's very good input, and I would like to add one thing, that access and like dissemination, which is a big aspect of the scholarly communication now, which is called democratization of science. That is one of the reasons that I became interested about the scholarly communication and bringing more visual into the scholarly field, which is important because it spreads the knowledge more among people in different geographic location and include more people. And what you said, another thing is like sign language itself is a visual thing. I don't have much idea, but as far I understand, that's why visual genres or visualization can impact more in that field as well. Yes, very much. I'd like to hear from another person, then we'll move forward. If anyone else want to share something with the primary search. Yeah, anyone? Okay, if not, we can move forward. So, as you have some idea, and I'll be definitely sharing my slides and other resources with Michael and can be spread among you. So you can use these links to search for specific graphical abstracts, like the same as like research articles. Okay, now we will have a look into what are the guidelines of a graphical abstract. We all are familiar with the guidelines of a research journal. When they ask for like a research article, they have a specific set of guidelines, and we pretty much have idea that what they ask for. But when it comes to the question of new instruction, new genre, there is always a little bit of ambiguity regarding the guidelines. So we'll be having a look into one typical example from the Cell Press. So this is the guideline copied from the Cell Press journals guideline, what we call meta genre. So what stays in there? Let's look into different parts. A graphical abstract is an image that summarizes the main findings of a paper. If we look at this sentence, like a little bit dissecting way, what it is doing, a graphical abstract is an image. So this is basically telling the author what it is or informing the people its definition of what it is. Second part is like kind of hitting on the purpose. Basically, it's saying that this summarizes the main findings of a paper. Though graphical abstracts do more than that, not only main findings, but it also can highlight other areas like concept, process, etc. But it's saying there is finding, which is correct, not wrong. It adds a rich visual component to the start of a paper, which is okay. It's saying that where it will be mentioned, helping readers to quickly appreciate and understand the central message, which we already discussed, that it promotes quick comprehension and retention. Graphical abstracts may be submitted at any stage. So it's telling, now it's moving more forward to the instruction that uh, whether you have to submit a graphical abstract with a paper, or like if a paper being accepted at that stage, it's hitting on that. But you are only required with the submission. So that means it is required. That means you have to submit at one point. Then it's going to the technicalities. The image should be like 1200 pixels square at 300 dpi. This is the technical detail. Using Arial font. Now it's like moving more like font, size of the font, and will not be legible online. Please refer to our graphical abstract guidelines for more details and recommendations. So the last one is like linking it to the other detail found in the website. Okay. So if we look at this guideline, it is basically telling us what it is, what it does, how you have to submit, what are the things you have to mention. Where it is having some lack is like um, as it is a complex multimodal genre, how to achieve that multimodality or how to combine or create a graphical abstract. There is not much detail about it. So we'll look into that a little bit. Now, this is the example of different sections of a graphical abstract. Let's zoom in a little bit into a graphical abstracts. You guys see my screen clearly, right? Okay. So this is the main graphical abstract at the middle. So it's basically a wilding mouse colony, which is very interesting. Uh, this graphical abstract presents the method of how introducing wild derivative microbes into lab mice strengthens their immune system. So this is a mouse colony and somewhat their different part of their immune system. So if you look at this like a clockwise thing presented, what it is doing, it's a flow-like structure with directional arrows, which is arrow is a big thing. Central placement of the wilding mouse to show the experimental model at the core of the study. So you see there's a image of a mouse presented, and then there is the different aspects presented, connected it with the arrows. What is doing basically presents the impact of the method or process connecting experimental design with biological result. That means result and process is connected by centralizing the mouse. That means providing the central idea. Again, if you look at these two other parts, like the outer structure and the lower part, what it is doing basically explains the method by putting arrows linking microbes. Now it's hitting on the micro aspects and process, and then cartoon like microbes surrounding the central mouse icon. It is explaining the method by showing how wild derivatives microbes are introduced into lab mice through co-housing and breeding. So if we ignore the technicalities, none of us are from the life science or in that field. If we just look at the structure of a general graphical abstract, we see that it has different components. One is like a cycle. One is the centralization of the main concept, a cycle presented with different image and aspects. Then it's connected with arrows and some directions presented to prove whatever they are trying to prove. So this is a very typical example of a general graphical abstract. Now, this is from a very established and other field. We'll look into some others. If we look at this comparative graphical abstract, we can see that these graphical abstracts show a certain mutation impact, brain health and Alzheimer's features by composing harmful and protective variants with different pathways of a therapeutic target. So ignore the technicalities, just look at the graphical abstract. We can see that two comparative pictures are presented. What it is doing, it is comparing harmful and protective variant showing side by side outcomes. So it is presenting two pictures highlighting one aspect and how these two pictures are varied in a comparative state. What it is trying to do basically communicates a mechanism by placing the pathway at the central. You see the central figure, and then there are some commonalities and some differences, which is technicality, which we don't need to focus by key drivers, disease process and therapeutic target. That means what would be the process or the outcome. So we saw two. One is like a process being presented with a central figure, and the other one is like a comparative picture presented side by side. So these are some micro aspects or micro sections of a graphical abstracts. Now, this one I created. This is a graphical abstract about graphical abstract actually. So you can see um, this is like harnessing digital content, graphical abstracts for scholarly communication. So this is kind of the representation of the primary discussion I did today. So what it is like research ideas like presented in text plus image, which is combinedly creating graphical abstract, and the impacts is creating like improved engagement, enhanced communication, increased visibility, more readership, more funding opportunities, and expanded collaboration. So this is one might be one general example from our field or like scholarly communication. This one also has a simplified version. This one is more favorite of mine because I try to use a little bit of visual more comprehensively in this one. Instead of like everything written down, like image and text, where it is cross connecting is graphical abstract, and then it is in general saying what are the facilities like communication, visibility, readership, collaboration, funding, and improve engagement. So these two are the ones I created to show you guys about a graphical abstracts of a graphical abstract. Okay, so now whatever we have discussed about the graphical abstracts and the concepts, so we'll try to jump into like creating some graphical abstracts by ourselves. Okay, so you guys can use pen and paper or like your like Canva or like Google Slide, or some people, even those who are like in life sciences, sometimes they use platforms like BioRender or like others. So whatever you want. For the primary purposes, those who are in person, I would suggest to start like minimally start with pen and paper, or those who are not, you can just open a Word file or Google Doc for the primary start. Okay, so in the step one, what we'll be doing is first find a paper, and any paper from your field, maybe a research paper you have written, or maybe you have read recently, or maybe one of the conceptual or interesting paper from your field. Any paper, just select a paper which has a clear text-based abstracts. First select that, and then we will we'll jump into the next part of the step one. Okay, so primarily let's find a paper and select a paper with text-based abstract.
You don't need, you don't need.
Okay, please let me know if you have, majority of you have found a paper. Just raise your hand or just like say yes. Okay, Michael has. Yeah, if you have, then don't need to read the whole paper. Of course, we have very limited period of time. Just read the abstract and do couple of things. So let me discuss first. One particular job you will be doing is like identify some key areas and concept from the abstracts, from the text-based abstract. So you can do it in a different way. Especially you can use like reverse outlining technique, like you can create a list of the items, mark the key areas or key concepts. From there, what you will do, you will list down the most important concepts and areas, and possibly creating an outline. So three things: key areas, or like key concepts, or maybe both, and create a list of like what is there in the abstract, kind of like a short outline of the whole abstract. Just read the abstract, identify key areas, make an outline. So I give you 5 minutes for that. Take your time, read it slowly, and try to understand and mark down.
very sharp. So this is my proposed graphical classic concepts. What? Oh, real abstract. So when it's not when Singapore. This AI related to language teaching. Oh, okay. That's it for who? Yeah. So I'm not gonna show. Oh, this is this like you know, communication or whatever.
All right, our time is up. Okay, I hope everyone in person and online have could find a paper, one text-based abstract, and at least could identify some key areas or at least a structure or an outline or list of items exist in that abstract. Okay, is that so far we all of us are nearer? Can you raise your hand, everyone? Okay, okay. Not exactly you have to stay on the face because these are complex things. We're just trying to have a demo of how to create. Okay. Now, if possible, I know in online it would be difficult, but those who are in person, if you could sit at least in pair or three people together and help each other with the title and specifying the list, like the list you have created, which one you want to actually highlight more, or which part of the abstract you want to highlight more. Make a decision about that. Okay. So I'll not give much time, but rather 3 minutes to do that. 2 minutes just to make a decision about which actually which part of the or which concept of the abstract you want to highlight more. Okay, discuss among your partner or someone with you. Okay, 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. Okay. Really what I was looking for, but this one's just about the AI generation. No, this is what happened, but it was AI. Just the regular. But this paper is actually arguing something different. That arguing that beyond first, like the reason that heritage language children have errors is because their parents have nutrition. But they're kind of, the study is arguing against that and saying that it might actually, instead of the adults highlight ill nutrition, the children there might be reverse transmission of like non-standard language from the children to the teachers, which is kind of interesting. So I'm thinking like maybe a comparative. This is like what we're outcomes with nutrition. The reality
presentation highlights the key area of integration, AI, support individual practice, organization, and then ethical boundaries setting up AI used for low resources and which means that getting slow. But AI one is already
So you want to use like the actual.
Okay, time up. It looks and feels like, though I'm not there, but it looks like you guys are feeling quite engaged and into the process, which I'm very happy about. Now, in the second phase, second step, we'll also be working in like pairs or groups, but we'll have a discussion first. So now this is the most important part of this whole process, which takes a little bit time, but as we are doing as demo, we'll be just doing it shortly, briefly. So you have your paper, you have your core concept, you have the key areas, and possibly some idea that what you want to actually highlight or what you want to present. Now, in the second step, what we will be doing, we will be finding visuals for those. Now, think about what type of visuals will be appropriate to the key areas or the concepts that you have selected or you have listed down. So you might draw your one, you might search in Google, you might sometimes we also incorporate AI to create image and then combine together. You can also use like any ready-made picture or anything. In your case, I would suggest you to have a look into Google, or maybe in the pen and paper you can just draw some concept. Okay. So again, I don't know about it would be difficult for the online people, but those who are in person, discuss among yourself and help each other to select or create some visuals related to the key ideas or key concept that you have selected. Okay, so I'm giving you 6 minutes for this. Okay, yeah, whatever you can find or discussing with each other. Yeah, you can start now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, this is useful. These are small pieces. And then what do you think? Images go in the cloud. You have to set up, you cannot just send copy and just, I see. Policy of the class, yeah, how to manage. Because if the teach is used to teach people so institution, you as instructor have to have set up. Like you cannot how you yes.
Conceptual compared to so just I think I'm just gonna, so I'm actually not gonna make a paper right now, but I'm trying to get the book that has this, but.
We do that for you.
So that's we talked about that.
Yes, critical.
I'm just trying to find like a reference real quick because of our presentation in an hour so that explains like those three. But I think I just want to make like it's kind of hard enough to just put it in a table, but just do the three generations with like a picture of maybe grandparent, parent, and child. And then arrows.
I think this one is too.
Yeah. I'm actually going to teach it. Last time I taught it like 3 years ago, I think, but I'm going to teach it to my students.
But then you can
They have like a special cohort for my students. So I'm gonna just be that Nicole. So I'm gonna get up specifically take a picture, language, and stuff. I think we'll get this. But it's 6 weeks.
This one.
So I don't know how to make everyone read.
Yeah.
All the like
Something like that. Yeah.
How many days a week?
So it's like 2 hours and not just copy your results. You have to go through the process.
You have to make up your identity that you're projecting.
Yeah, and then you can have that. Yeah.
Electron feels more like classical, with professors who are like,
Oh, really? To get it? Yeah, I need to have
And
them.
I'm going to illustrate that. Diagnosis.
I'm taking one of that.
Yes.
We need to do something like
But
I also like
and how to do
So,
that.
Well, maybe 8,000,
8,000 plus the paper.
I think. Including.
So maybe like they could be directly tied to their
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
That's.
The issues. The rules, the issues, and the issues.
it's about
No, that's the purpose of it. We have like the assembly project, so I gave her like so it's okay. They don't have this concept. Good. Because what's about the line? Because I on the one person but they like have like the free online and have it available for that, but it's June.
Okay, our time up. I hope and wish that everyone's hidden talent of drawing is bubbling up from inside, and you could come up with good visuals. Now, at this point, actually, if you're doing it in online platforms like Canva or Google Slide, or even like more licensed platforms like BioRender or Photoshop, or in those, there you can use different kind of technique. Like you can bring in like images or text, images especially connected to the your field, or like core concept presented in a good visual form. Also, some people, if they are more creative, artistic, like once I was doing this in one of the classes with my advisor, one student created a graphical abstract in a painting style, like presenting Shakespeare's time of drama theater and stuff. So you can bring in different type of categories, different type of paintings or different type of images, clippers. There is the freedom lies actually. Now, for us, in a very brief period of time, the next step is like combining all these together, structuring the whole thing. So you have the title, key concepts, list of items, or the outlines. Now, possibly you might have some visuals drawn by yourself or like collected from the internet or other sources. Now, what you will be doing, your job, again, working in pairs. At this stage, where you compile all together and structure your graphical abstracts, first you have to choose a platforms which you can do any way you want, like pen and paper, whatever. Uh, to common platform is like I always do in person is like Google Slide or Canva, or on pen and paper is also good. Then you have to choose, you can whatever style you want, like diagram or like illustrative or concept presentation, however you want. Then you decide how you combine this whole thing together. For example, I have to go back a little bit for this one, like the same graphical abstract, like I used the color and the visual and some clippers to show the portray the ideas. This one is more diagrammatic, and this one is more like a more conceptual. Okay, so whatever you have so far, try to combine them together, discussing with each other. Okay, so we don't have much time, but I'm giving you 4 minutes to come up with or combine whatever you have so far. All right. Okay, your time starts now. 4 minutes. Discuss with each other and try to come up with combining the ideas. Um, so congratulations everyone for completing the process, though we did it in a very short span of time. I'd like to share some resources very quickly. So one of the platforms that I did my training to learn concept visualization, it's called Information is Beautiful. It's a Europe-based platform. You can search. They run workshop. Workshops are a little bit expensive to conduct, but in their website there are plenty of free resources which you can use. The lady who was asking about the platform, registered platform, this is a platform called BioRender. This is in this platform, unfortunately, you need registration to create graphical abstracts, and they have specific function and training to create graphical abstracts in this platform. But this has to be registered by the institution. Sometimes, like in Oak State, we have like institutional registration, but not, it's a paid platform. There are plenty of AI resources which you can use to create images. You have to create graphical abstract by yourself, but for image creation, those may be helpful, like Leonardo the AI, which I personally use and my favorite. Napkin AI is like more structuring, which is a through an AI platform you can structure your graphical abstracts. Pictory.ai or Midjourney is about creating image. LCBR has some good resources about guidelines and graphical abstracts. Same about SelfPress, and here is one visual resource. Once I shared the slide with Michael, she can distribute among you and you can utilize these platforms.